Everyone remembers the Jetsons. I could really see a value in having robots do a lot of this different exploring. And look, here's Wall-E. Look, we have R2-D2. This is the futures in space. Do you think we'll ever live in space? Maybe not my lifetime. Hey everybody, welcome to Tigner Adventures. We are at the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Look,
we made it.
There's the moon rover right behind us. Or I guess that's not the rover. What is that thing?
That's the rocket.
It's the lander. The lunar lander.
That's why we're here to learn
yeah,
about
it's
it.
the lunar lander. That's what it is. So,
it was a while ago.
Yeah, anyway, this is a really big museum. And interesting, to get in here, they have timed entries, just because it's so popular. And this is a copy of this is what the form looks like that you fill out. And interesting enough, it is free, but they do ask for donations. So that's interesting, because I came here
and you have
probably
to go through a security
10, 15 years ago, and you just walked in. I don't remember any of this. But anyway, things do change over time for sure. So, and you do have to go through a security checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But once you're in, you're in, and we get to look at all this cool stuff. There's a ton of stuff here. So let's check it out. Okay, so this is the lunar module. Interesting that we can send these things out into space and they actually work. So the little thing with the antennas coming out the side is the first satellite. The Viking Lander is identical to the two landers that in 1976 became the first U.S. spacecraft to reach the surface of Mars. During mission planning and while the lander operated on Mars, scientists and engineers used this duplicate to model how the lander would respond to various radio commands. So the ability to soft land a spacecraft and gather data revolutionized what scientists knew about Mars, what it's made of, how it might have formed, and what that revealed about how our solar system evolved. Each Viking spacecraft consisted of an orbiter and a lander. The Viking 1 lander worked for more than 6 years after landing on July 20th, 1976. Viking 2 landed 2 months later on the other side of the Mars, where it transmitted data for over 3.5 years. It always amazes me how we came up with these things. We got a lot of smart people in this world, for sure. Just figuring out how to even get up in the air was one major feat that we showed you last year. We had the biggest airplane, right? We went to that museum in Oregon, and now, that was just getting in the air kind of thing, but all the different aircraft. But this is about space, and that's just a whole nother thing, and just where we've gone. And since I graduated in 1976 high school, so it's amazing that they've been doing all this stuff so long. So, and all of this started clear back in the 60s. They started figuring out how to get into space and doing the different things. And they even, when I graduated in 76, that's when they put a lunar or a lander on Mars. Wow. It's just hard to imagine.
I thought they landed on the moon when I was 9.
Yeah, the moon was first. Then they went to Mars.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, farther.
Yeah, farther. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's pretty cool. But this is a really big museum, so we got to get moving here if we're going to see any of it. So, lots of airplanes. Look, you can go in that big one up there. We're going to go in this littler one here. Okay, we're going to go in the cockpit of this plane. Look at that. All that stuff that you got to learn and be able to use to fly the plane. This is Douglas DC-7. This is the first airline to provide nonstop transcontinental service in both directions, New York to Los Angeles. I want to fly one of these. That'd be a lot of fun. Getting up is always easy. It's getting down that's always the problem, though. but way above my pay scale for sure. This is probably the only one that I can afford, and it doesn't look like it's going to get off the ground too far. For most of us, all we're going to get to do is fly drones. Look at these drones here. This is Amazon Prime up here. That is a big quadcopter. Interesting enough, I have purchased the course to get my commercial pilot's license so that I can fly my drone on our YouTube channel. It's finding time to take, to do all the course study and then take the test, because it's like $200 to get your license, and then it's only good for like 2 years, I think, and then you got to retake the test again. So, but I'm really looking forward to getting that so that we can start doing some drone footage on our YouTube channel. That'd be pretty cool. This is where it all started, the first manned flight, the Wright brothers. 1903 Wright flyer made 4 flights at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina on December 17th, 1903. Look at this wing design right here. This is what all started, just like a bird, right? The wing's curved. The air goes over the wing faster on top and slower on the bottom, so it pushes the wing up. This whole premise of air flight. This is the view from the second floor of the America by Air area. All the planes. We're going into the big one now. See what the difference is between this one. The last one was a DC-7. This is a Boeing 747. Look at this cockpit. They got lots of little switches and gadgets. Takes, we got 4 chairs here. It'll take 4 people to fly this plane. This is exploring the planets area. Look at all these planets. The problem is that people started looking through telescopes. They started seeing all these things, and then they started going, hey, we should be able to go there, shouldn't we? Is there anybody out there? There was all the aliens. We've seen the aliens over the last few years when we've been out traveling. But anyway, these are all the planets, and the reason that they wanted to start creating spaceships to get to them. Look at this little rover, the Marie Curie rover. Huh. Along with a lot of other big rovers over here. These are Mars rovers. So we watched this demonstration about different planets around Earth. And interesting, we could live on none of those other planets. Some of them are pretty darn hot.
Or cold.
Or cold. Hot and cold. Look at Venus is like 800 and something degrees all the time, and hot enough to melt lead. And it actually rotates backwards compared to the Earth. So that was pretty interesting.
Earth is a pretty special place.
Yeah.
It's just right. Not
It's
too
just
hot,
right.
not too cold. Well, considering the other planets.
Yeah.
Some places can get too hot.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a pretty cool little demonstration they got here. Look at these different sizes of rockets here. Start off with the Mercury Redstone compared to the Apollo Saturn V. Look how massive one of these engines are. Just looking up inside that engine here. The F-1 is still the most powerful liquid-propelled rocket engine ever built. First developed under Air Force contract in the 1950s, it became the first stage engine for the human Saturn V rocket. 18 feet high, 11 feet wide, weighs 18,000 pounds. Wow, and it has a maximum thrust of 6.67 million newtons. This is the Apollo mission simulator. Lots of switches. I gotta love this cartoon portion down here. Humans walk on the moon. Look at these moon boots. We used to wear.
Anybody remember having any moon boots? I did.
Yeah, when we were kids, we used to wear moon boots all the time out in the snow. So they weren't quite that dirty, so that's kind of interesting. But I guess that's what happens when you walk in the
Dusty moon.
on the moon in the dust, yeah. So this is a redesigned lunar lander for the last 3 missions, it says. Look at these wheels. These are pretty cool wheels.
Ride.
So That's just got this little homemade car almost just wandering around the moon surface. So this is the Gemini missions here. This is the rocket they use for the Gemini missions. Man, 2 people sitting in there. That is crazy. And the longest one was 4 days. So 4 days, you have to sit there for 4 days, going around and around before you land and can walk again. That is pretty crazy. The things that we've done in history to learn more about space travel. Ninette is wandering the Air and Space Museum in her own personal chariot. What do you think?
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it. So
You lose all of your freedom.
Yeah, she's not really happy.
No.
She's got plantar fasciitis, so she only walks so much. So the museum's so big that we wanted to make sure that she could be here the whole time and enjoy it. But I don't know, not fun, huh? Okay, we are tired. Big place, lots to see, way more than we could ever film. This is, it's fun that it's a free, museum that you can come into. They got a ton of stuff. So all kinds of, I like how it's all laid out in little sections.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun, kind of breaks it up a little bit and gives you a pretty good idea, through history where everything's gone. When we were in school, we learned a little bit about rockets and things, There's so much more to what we ever learned in school in history than now. I was kind of surprised not to see SpaceX here, though. We've seen Amazon. But we didn't ever see SpaceX. Because
they're going to be delivering with their little remote.
Yeah. I guess they made some major donation to get into the museum here. Maybe SpaceX doesn't want to do that yet, or maybe they don't want to show everybody all their stuff yet. I don't know. But anyway, that would have been kind of fun to see too. But it's, there's a ton here to see. So it was a lot of fun. So thanks for coming along with us. We had a lot of fun. Ninette did not like the wheelchair. No. So anyway, we're going to go walking around a little bit. We're just trying to kind of give her feet a break a little bit. She kind of really overdid it with pickleball. That's the problem. It's just something you get. I had it for a little bit, but mine was okay after. It took me about 2 months to get over it. She's been going for a little while now.
7 months now.
Yeah, so anyway, thanks for coming along. We'll hope to see you on our next video, and if not, then we'll just plan on seeing you down the road somewhere. Just reach out to us on if you go to our website, tigneradventures.com. You can see our map where we're at, but we're in DC for a week here, and then we are going to be heading north. That's all we can say right now. Bye.
Bye.